Okay, kids. So, last week we did a little experiment with crayons and watercolor paint. And we noticed that the wax content of the crayon resisted the water of the paint. In other words, the paint didn't cover up what you wrote if you did it right and you pressed hard enough. Okay? So the properties of the crayon resisted the properties of the water. Now, we're going to take this and go from science to art. Now, the last project, our metal masterpieces, we started talking a little bit about sculptures. Sculptures are three-dimensional pieces of artwork. Well, right now, the two pieces you did are two-dimensional. They're flat. No good. We want to make sculptures out of them. To do that, we're going to need a number of art materials. Okay? And what you're going to end up making, look at that. Okay? It is three-dimensional. Even though it looks flat this way. Okay? You can see that it's got lumps and bumps. Very cool. Okay? So, you are going to need your pencil, an orange strip of cardboard, your two watercolor pieces, your gray paper that you painted these on top of, okay, a glue stick, and one of these papers that have two rectangles on it. First thing we're going to do, flip the rectangle paper over and write our name on it. And also the day that you see me. So if you see me on day E, which is tomorrow, okay, you would write day E. If you see me today, day D. Okay. Then you're going to take one of your watercolors. You're going to flip it over. You're going to line up the piece of orange cardboard with the edge of your watercolor painting as perfectly as you possibly can. We don't want it crooked like that. Okay, we want it nice and straight and even with the edge of the paper, like that. We're going to hold it steady and trace a line. Don't push too hard, okay? As long as we can see it, we're good. Then you're going to take your cardboard, you're going to line it up with the line you just traced. Just on top of it, like that. Trace it again. And keep working your way over to the other side of the paper, being very careful to just hit each line with your orange cardboard so that these all stay the same size. And it looks like I'm going to have a little skinny one at the end. That's okay. All right. Now, you are going to, ooh, I almost cut it. We don't want to cut it. By the way, you also need a pair of scissors. I want you to number these. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then your skinny one will be 8. All right. And you're going to cut them after you number them. Notice I only picked one of my watercolor pieces to do. We're not doing both of them at the same time. Okay. So we're going to cut right on our lines. As carefully as we can. Okay. Now each one of these has their numbers. Now comes the hard part of this. Okay. We're going to put these aside over here. And you're going to look for number 1 and get that one ready. And I want you to take your glue stick, put a small amount of glue right in this spot right here, right in the corner, like that. And then down here, I want you to put a line of glue like this. So it's about this long, okay? And you're going to take number 1. Notice where the number is. It's at the bottom, okay? And we're going to glue this thing evenly in both corners. Notice it's flat here, but then it has this bump, okay? Hold it there for a moment so that the glue sets. And voila, you've started your sculpture. Now the key is, as I look for number 2, right here, okay, the next one we do is going to be done the opposite way of this one. So I'm going to make my small amount of glue down here this time, and my longer amount of glue up here. And again, thinking about where my number was, I'm going to bump this right against the other one. It is super important that it's not sitting on top of it. Okay? And then I'm going to bend my piece of paper, match it to the other end, bump it against the one I just finished over here, and press it down. Okay, it will move around, so you got to make sure you keep it lined up as nicely as possible. Now, I do want to show you guys a trick that you can use throughout the rest of the project if you want. Okay, just let me finish this one first. I want to make sure that glue sticks. All right, I think we're good there. So there is a trick that will help with the paper trying to move while you're gluing it. Okay? And if you want to use this for the rest of the project, you certainly can. So this is number 3. This is the next one I'm going to do. You can, if you want, curl the paper around your pencil to train it a little bit. See, now it wants to be curly. Okay, that'll make it easier to glue it down and it won't want to fight you. All right, but anyway, now we're going to go back to the way we did the first one. Remember, we're going back and forth opposites. So I will make the bottom line longer and just a little bit of glue at the top. Now you can make this as long as you want to make them a little different each time. Okay, so let's see if this one looks different now. So I'm going to line this up as perfectly as possible. And then bend my paper and look at that. So this time it's just slightly different than some of the others, and that's great. We're going to make sure that it's nice and lined up with our lines around our rectangle and against the piece that's next door. Now, what did I do wrong here? If you guys can see, I didn't pay attention to where my number went. So now this thing is, I believe, upside down. You can see the purple down here and up here. So luckily, because it's a glue stick and I made a little mistake, I can fix it by turning it around and trying to make it do what I wanted it to do before. Okay, there we go. We all make mistakes, including the great Mr. H. So that's better. I'm happy with that. Okay. And we move to the next one. Remember, we're switching back and forth. So now the longer line is going to be here. And then a little piece of glue there. We're going to look for number 4. I'm going to make sure I have it lined up the right way this time. I'm going to stick it on, bend it, and again, you could have wrapped this around your pencil if that helps you. And then I'm just going to push this down wherever the glue is, like so. Okay, so now the next one, my long line belongs here, a short amount there. This time I'm going to make it really long. Let's see what happens. I'm going to put glue all the way up to here and then a little dot here. Number 6 goes right here. Okay, I want to make sure that it's lined up the proper way. I think it goes this way. And so I made a real long line of glue, so I'm going to stick that down first. And I'm going to make my little bendy part right there. You can see it's just slightly different than all the rest now that I put the glue where I did. See, it's real flat here, and then there's a little bump right there. Okay? And you can see that it did not line up the way I wanted it to. If I had used my pencil to curl it, it probably wouldn't have done that. Alright. So you can see that as we go, all of these are just a tiny bit different. So I'm back to making my long line at the top this time. A little area of glue down there. Need a bit more right there. Okay. Looking for my next number. Okay, I can see that Mr. H has made a mistake. Well, maybe not. All right, good. So there's number 6. Number 6 is different than all of them. All right. So that's my next one. Long line this way this time. One left to go, and that's our skinny little number 8. And there you go. So I've made a 3-dimensional sculpture out of a flat piece of paper, just like that. And then you're going to follow all those same exact steps with your second piece as well. Don't forget to number them.